scene. I'm ready for something new. I know just what I gotta do. Yeah, it's time to change my scene. Yeah, it's time to change my scene. Yeah, gotta take that flight out of here tonight. Yeah, it's time to change my scene. I gotta start again before I lose my mind. It's time to change my scene. I'm ready for something new.
G'day guys, and welcome to another episode. In this episode we are away down south with a few mates on a bit of a boys weekend. We're not filming an adventure video, however we are going to film a bit of a walkthrough of that Maverick hybrid caravan right there behind me. So mate of mine, Shuy, has upgraded himself to that, and he's going to show us through his new pride and joy, and yeah, we'll have a good look and see what you reckon. All right, so here we are with said adventurer Shuy. Some of you will remember him from the where did we go? Helena Aurora. I keep wanting to say Helena Valley for some reason. Oh, it's a suburb of Perth, isn't it? Helena Aurora Ranges with his homemade camper trailer. Do you want to elaborate on why the upgrade?
Look, it might have come to an unfortunate end. Insert clip here.
Yep,
that hasn't been seen on the internet yet.
Yes.
As to how that might have ended, and some photos. Essentially 20 k's from Skull Springs, not Skull Springs Road, we're on Skull Springs Road, 20 k's from running waters when the axle fell off and it tipped over, so it was a write-off, unfortunately. Hence
the upgrade to the, what is it?
It's a Maverick Viper 16C 2024.
2024, okay. Yeah, all right, shall we have a look through it?
Let's have a look.
All right, let's follow Shuy through and he'll run us through the Maverick.
All right. So this is kind of the outdoor living section, where over here we've got a 95 litre Maverick camper's fridge. It would be good if it was never over 30 degrees in Australia, but unfortunately that's pretty rare. Hence it's not that crash hot in hot weather. It's a dual zone when it works.
So even being insulated doesn't help it much?
No, it's not good. Over here I've got a 240 outlet, which goes inside to an inverter. We'll talk about the inverter system later, but it's enough to run a coffee machine, an ice machine to keep Gaz happy.
That's all Gaz is worried about this trip so far is when's the ice machine getting turned on.
That was why I brought it. That's the sole purpose of it, basically. We've got kind of like a pantry set up over here. If you are so inclined, outdoor TV, it's a 12 volt TV system that I've got stored away at home because no thank you. So a bit of a pantry system where we keep a bit of odds and sods. Slide out pantry here. Just as you would expect, a few food items. That is a crock bin that I added myself because there wasn't many options in the way of bins on the camper. So that's what we're doing for the bin. Over here under the sink, as Paul will probably show you shortly, so there's hoses and things and the K-on rings to stop the gas getting blown out on the stove. This one is kind of just for your bits and pieces and your knives and whatever else that won't fit in the cutlery drawer. So the cutlery drawer, it's not bad actually, I don't mind this. It's quite large. Doesn't fit the large knife in here though. I think that was a 10-inch knife, I think. It doesn't quite fit in there, so that's why it's in there. Four gas burners are really quite good. I like this stove quite a lot.
What's it like in the wind? It seems to have good wind protection.
It's pretty good. I've used the rings a couple of times, but in reality we probably don't need to. So it's actually very good. Better than the last stove we had in the last setup. So we've got a dish rack on this one as well, which has a light here, which has a little plug. You just plug that in up here somewhere. I don't use it very often. It goes on this side of here. There you go. And then obviously that'll illuminate your area that you want to work with. So when not in use, just unplug it. We rarely use that as well. Reason being, I've installed some LED light bars that are both white or red or pink if you're into that.
Party lights.
Essentially, that's the lighting system for out here. Obviously, there's this little light here. It doesn't do a great deal, but yellow and white if you want it. What have we got over here? Obviously the indoor stepping system with the step, and we've bought that for it. We'll go inside shortly, so we'll continue around this way, I think. Maybe we want to talk about the awning just a little bit. So that's the standard Maverick electric awning that comes with the van. We've got the Sunbuster anti-flap kit and shades. We've also got one for the front, but because I've got the north face to the back, didn't need to put the front one on for this trip. And the mat is obviously a recycled mat. I think it's 5 meters long, 2.5 meters out, which seems sufficient for what we've got. I might just take that off.
In case you're wondering about the washing line, 2 days ago we had about 20 mil of rain hit Perth in 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was epic.
And I think we've got some pictures or some video we can insert here of what this campsite was like.
It was a river in here and down there.
As opposed to the river down there, yeah.
All right, so this is the front box setup. We've got a 9 kilo bottle here, and I've got a 4.5 kilo bottle here, just kind of trying to keep the weight off the front a little bit. The 4.5, that's been in here since we bought it, and we've probably done 10 to 15 nights and haven't gone through it yet, and that's with the gas water heater and everything as well. So the 9 kilo bucket of garbage, bag for the mat, obviously keep things in here like blocks, so if you need to pump up to do your leveling, bit of a hard surface. Just kind of a junk gear storage more than anything. Over here we've got the Black Ops Boss jockey stand, I guess. The standard Alco was scaring me. It was too wobbly, so I put this one on. It's a lot more stable. You just use a drill up and down. It's quite good. You get these uni adapters, put it in, up and down, too easy. Over here we've got obviously handbrake, breakaway, DO35, plumbed water to the front, which works beautifully, and it came with the clothesline, which Ash absolutely loves. So this front box, that one's kind of like your fuel box, I guess, whereas this one's more like a bit more junk. So we've got the bigger treads in here, AEG battery charger, diesel fuel, and then just we keep the mats and other things like that in here. Just again, not too much weight over the front of the car, or rather over the front of the van to put on the car. So that's what's in there. This one here commonly is a generator box, but I despise generators. So it's again a junk storage area which we just keep. So like the black hose, different things like that in here. Different tie down. So if we needed additional, if it was super windy, we could tie down the mat, things like that. Got the treads to put the feet on if needed. Literally just a junk storage area. That used to be the entrance to the toilet, but we no longer need to use that, and you'll see why shortly. All right, so what we have here is the outdoor shower. Hot and cold water, which is really very good. There used to be a external facing shower on here, however we have no intention of ever using it, so I pulled it off. It's probably about 10 kilos, maybe 8 to 10 kilos of weight that we just don't need because we're not going to use it, so it's off. However, that can stay, because if you want hot water to wash your feet, or maybe the dog gets covered in garbage,
It's a good idea.
give them a wash.
Yeah.
So that can stay. Over here we've got the front tank. It's actually only 100 litres of storage, despite the material saying it's 120 each tank. It's only 100. That is your pressure inlet, so if you stay at van parks or maybe even at home, if you don't want to use your tanks, pressure in instead. Back tank, again, 100 litres as well. Over here we've got the brains of the organisation, so you've got your Red Arc Manager 30. I've got a Victron 150, which converts the solar, which you'll see shortly as well. And also a cord that looks very random, but that powers the hot water system, which is both gas and electric. The reason we keep it unplugged is because it draws about 200 amps to heat the water up. So as you can imagine, the battery goes flat very quick.
Just actually leave that on, you'll know all about it.
And that's the gas outlet for the trimmer gas/electric. And that's the input for 240 in 15 amp. Obviously there's the windows and the pop top, and then the back pops out because on this camper it's a 16-foot camper that's almost more like an 18-foot camper. So it pops out the back, and this is where the bed is. You'll see that shortly. Not a bad design. It does the job.
Running a bit of solar too, I see.
Just a little bit of solar. So I've got 800 watts of Renogy solar panels here. That can do up to 50 amps of battery charging in good conditions. Today we're not getting that. We're probably getting maybe 15 because it's just too overcast. All right, moving on. One other thing on the outside, I guess, is the Starlink Mini. It's been absolutely brilliant, and it runs only on 12 volt. We used to have the Gen 2, but that was 240 volt where you needed to, bloody ants. So the 240 volt, and it was a router and a dish, where this is just the router and a dish in one, and only 12 volts. Not a bad idea.
Yeah. And we're all using it.
Absolutely we are.
As much as I despise having internet while I'm away camping, we're all on it.
Couldn't help yourself. All right, let's take a walk inside. So this is the inside. It's quite roomy, despite probably looking quite cozy. There is a fair bit of room in here. I think the first place we'll take a look is the Thunderbox, because it's something we've modified from standard. So from standard it comes with a like a Thetford or a Dometic type toilet, a chemical one. This is not that. This is a composting OGO. The reason we did that is because you can get up to 30 applications prior to changing. It also doesn't have a smell on the inside, whereas the chemical toilets, anyone that's got one knows how bad that those things stink. So we can probably go for 2 to 3 weeks per empty, and it's literally just a bucket. I'm not going to show you, but it's just a bucket full of Koya peat.
Okay.
Super simple. Splits out number ones and number twos. That's half the reason why it doesn't smell as much. So
Okay.
your number one bucket, I can show you that one, but we probably won't.
No. Doesn't make for good video.
Not really. But essentially you empty out the number one bucket. It's about 4 litres. Go and tip it out by a tree or whatever. It's all good. It's literally just that. Over here we've kind of got the electrical brains behind the operation, where we can see how much water and things we've got going on. So the grey tank at the front obviously is empty because we're straight to the ground at the moment, given it's just soapy water. Front tank's full. The back tank. So this one's after 3 days we've been here. We've still got water in there. I dare say we'll be leaving and still have a front tank when we leave, so don't use too much water.
Yeah.
Over here, power, so that's the entire 12 volt system, everything on and off. Obviously that's your lighting. That's only for the fridge and the fridge fans and things near the fridge. Sockets, that's USBs and every other thing that is not a light, essentially. TV, DVD, that is also for your radio. So we've got a little radio around here and the 12 volt TV system if you run that. And the pump is only for the water pump. I'll just give you a quick look in here. It's just where we store our clothes. So not really exciting.
No.
Alright. So this is the kitchen. Normally there'd be a gas hob here as well. But the person who optioned this one opted not to put a gas hob in here, which is perfect because I'd only use an induction cooker in here anyway. I didn't want gas inside the van. I wanted to get all of our gas systems, as much as possible, out.
Outside, yeah.
Obviously there still is some gas in here. So under the bed here you've got the trimmer water heater system, there's gas there. And the kitchen slides in the back as well, and there's gas in that.
Mm-hmm.
You can only do so much.
Yeah.
I would have loved a gasless van. If we had the option to go like a 48 volt van that is completely gasless, I probably would have done that. But our budget constraints didn't allow for that. So we've got here a couple of Sirocco fans as well. So everyone knows how they work. One there and one there. Despite having 5 or 6 weeks to get the thing ready, it still didn't get installed, so I've done them myself. Easy enough to do. We've got a, just down here, Paul, this is a diesel heater, which sometimes it works really amazing and then other times it just doesn't work at all. So I'm not sure why. Righto, so one of the reasons they call this a Viper C is actually because of the couch. It's a club lounge. As you can see, it's also a very small bed. I think if you had a kid that was under 5-6 years old, that would work. We obviously have our dog. He loves sleeping on this bed. It's basically Eski's bed. The other thing you can do is pull the table up. So,
Need to have a strong wrist for this, obviously.
I was just thinking maybe I should get like a drill attached to this thing.
Would probably be handy.
Yeah. So you kind of like wind it up. Originally we weren't going to even put the table in the van, but we decided, because it's a bed for the dog, that it might come in handy. So essentially you can sit down at your table and there's plenty of room.
Yeah.
For Ash, myself, and the dog. We've all actually sat here. There's a significant amount of room.
Yeah.
Table's big enough for dinner if you want to eat inside, but we're obviously outside as much as we can be.
So you're only going to be out there when the weather's crap.
Exactly. The bed is a king bed, and this is the pop-out part. So the mattress is, when not in use, folded. Another little hack is a couple of pool noodles to strengthen the mattress just a little bit, because it's a folding mattress, you have a tendency to fall into the fold. So you put the pool noodles in there to strengthen it. That way, I'm a larger person, you don't tend to fall into it as much. So just a nice little hack. Here we've got the Truma Aventa air conditioning system. It's sufficient if it doesn't get over about 30 degrees. Because the thing lacks any form of insulation, after 30 degrees it's a bit bloody warm in here. So, you know, go for a drive, it might be a bit more pleasant. Alright, so this is the Red Arc Manager 30 system. Basically tells you how much power is coming in. So this one's power coming in from the rooftop solar, and that's power coming in from the panels at the back there. All up, we've got about 21, 22 amps coming into the battery at the moment. 6 hours of till it's full, and it's at 70%. We have 400 amp hours of lithium battery. I think they're just cheap Chinese things that Maverick put in. I haven't even seen them. They're underneath the camper. They seem sufficient until they're about half, and then the aircon doesn't like to work. The voltage must be a bit low at that point. So speaking of inverters and the like, another thing that I put in is an inverter switch, because they don't have this from standard. What they tell you to do is to open this up and then go in and manually switch the inverter, but there's nothing more frustrating for the missus in the morning when you want a coffee and she's still trying to sleep and you've got her legs halfway in the air. So I put that on there. It was only, I don't know, $100 or something, and it's really good. You basically switch the inverter on and off right there, easy as.
Okay.
There are copious amounts of USB charging plugs and ports and things on this van, more than I think anyone on earth would need. So there's one here, and that's obviously USB-C, USB-A. Turn it on by pushing the button. That's your 240 outlet. There's copious amounts of those around as well. There's another USB-C here. There's a 240 here. There's another 240 here, and the Truma hot water heater system switch here. So the water is both hot and cold. So that's essentially now on the hot water system. There you go, you can hear the pump engage. The pump's down here. That's a Seaflow, I think it's 6 or 12 litres a minute, I can't remember, but seems sufficient. I mean, you can see there's plenty of that. The water's nice and hot, like very hot. And then that's just cold water. So
Pump's quite loud.
it is, but when the door's closed, it's not so bad.
All right, yeah.
The top, that's where I keep the induction cooker. Runs pretty well on this system. It's the 2000 watt inverter, handles it quite well. Here we've got the, like, your typical under sink goods. So obviously just all that type of garbage in here. This is our pots and plates and things like that. Quite a big drawer.
It is. Pretty deep.
Yeah. That one's just another garbage storage area. We've got more storage than we're actually ever going to need in this van. We don't use the storage under the seats either, and that's completely empty. That's a tiny Temu vacuum, just cleaning up the garbage.
Does it work?
Sometimes. It's kind of like the van. Sometimes
It's Temu, isn't it?
Temu, it is. It's a Temu van, isn't it? These cupboards here are just simple little storage cupboards. There's nothing overly exciting, and they're not that large. So, Ash has got her hat in there, but yeah, pretty simple little storage areas.
And the ones we missed inside the door, just there.
They're also junk storage. So you know,
Right,
like
also some more USB ports by the looks of it.
everyone,
Oh, no.
there's one of each.
Oh,
yeah.
there's one of each.
And a 240.
Yep.
So everyone on earth's got a top drawer in their kitchen with junk in it, right? No exception here. I've got two. So there's that. There's this little thing here that kind of like just put some stuff in it, like for leveling. Speaking about leveling, I've actually put a little contraption in here, Paul, an Oricom smart leveler.
Okay.
So I use an app to level this van. And we should speak about the legs as well, because I forgot to do that. This is yet again more storage where we just keep our shoes. This is one where we put our Mozzie coils and things like that in. And I didn't even know there was a drawer there.
It just keeps going, doesn't it?
I didn't even realise that was here. So there you go. First time I've seen it. This is a remote for the roof, so you can put the roof up and down remotely, which is weird because there's a button just there that does the same thing.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm not sure who's walking away from the van up and down on the roof like that.
That's where you see Graham Cahill getting his 4X out of the fridge while,
But you've still got to open the door to get the remote.
Still got to open the door to get the remote,
I don't know. It seems kind of pointless.
To
But
keep that in
whatever.
the car.
All right, so let's go and have a look at these levelers. All right, so these levelers, I replaced the standard Chinese ones with Boss levelers because you can actually put 1,800 kilos per leg on these levelers, whereas the standard ones that came with were literally just for holding the van kind of stable, not really weight bearing at all. So with these, I can use these to level the van. Obviously you've got to do it in smaller increments, about 50 millimeters at a time. But I can level the van entirely just using these instead of trying to reverse up a ramp. When we first got the van, I reversed up one of those tread ramps, put the handbrake on, thought we did everything correctly, unhitched, and then it immediately rolled down the van, down the ramp. Luckily no one got injured, but there's a high possibility that with that style of leveling you could end up injured.
Absolutely.
So even using chocks and everything, it still rolled. The thing weighs about 3 tons. I'm not really interested in injuring myself or Ash, hence the reason we've now got Boss levelers and the jockey. It's going to be stable. Obviously you still need to make sure that your ground is stable, but that was a better way of doing it. All right, over here we've got the tunnel boot. Again, just kind of, so maybe we should talk about the elephant in the room here. Over here, Paul.
Oh,
The
insulation.
there's insulation on a lot of things, and if you have a look down here as well, insulation.
Yeah.
So that's my attempt at keeping the fridge a little bit cooler. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked. The fridge still doesn't like over 30 degrees. But anyway, that is your simple front boot storage. We just put the lighter items like the chairs and things like that up here. Got a fold up aluminium table. All that just goes in here and you're away. Again, you've got a light here that doesn't want to operate. Like I said, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And today it
Have you
doesn't.
tried switching it off and switching it back on again?
That's why I just did that.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, you get that on the big jobs, don't you? Eh?
You do.
All right.
You do.
That was my van.
All right. Well, there you go.
Hope you enjoy.
Hey guys, if you got any questions, chuck a comment down
That's it.
below, and I'll relay them to Shuy, and he can answer them for you. Apart from that, are you happy with it?
Look, overall, I like the van. What I don't like is the support I've received from Maverick with little issues. They are not good at either responding to issues, doing anything in a timely manner. They outsource their warranty to a national warranty company. They basically, you log a ticket, say, hey, I've got this issue with, let's say, the diesel heater not operating all the time. Yeah, sure, no worries. You'll hear back 2-3 days later. Go and log it in with someone else. We don't really care about it. So they don't obviously say we don't care, but you feel a lot like they don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
So ultimately what I've been doing is not bothering to log tickets and trying to fix things myself.
Yeah, which isn't ideal, but you know, if you want to get it done, you've got to get it done.
What I am glad is that I'm glad I didn't pay $2,000 or whatever it is for extra 2 years of warranty, because as far as I can tell, their warranty is not worth the paper it's written on.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but
Yeah.
all in all, it's not a bad looking package. I actually like the look of it. It's quite good.
Yeah, look, I like it when it functions. It works quite well. We took it down some tracks that I never ever would have anticipated driving this thing down, and it handled really well. The only limitation was braking power from my car and the van. Because of the combined package weight, I'm probably at my absolute GCM with my vehicle, being a 3-ton towing. The van is up to a 3-ton van. So haven't gone over a weighbridge yet, but I estimate we'd be on the limit.
All right, well, we shall leave it at that. Hope you have enjoyed this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers.